things aren't always fucking hunky-dory, rainbows and butterflies and, yeehaw.
If I lose at the end of the day, I'm on a fucking rock that's going through space.
I think a lot of people do equate self-worth to some degree with what they're producing. Welcome back for another episode of Mission Control Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Stearns. Episode is proudly sponsored by the team at Roofer. Today we got Cam Wade. Cam. How long you been in the roofing industry, Cam?
Altogether, I would say time in 15 years, and that's adding, time I spent working with my father when he had his own GC company back in the day from the 80s, 90s, even in the 2000s. Yeah.
Okay. What was it? Were you working predominantly on the roofing side with your father, or
That and painting.
painting?
Yeah, those were some of my first jobs were, carrying shingles, bundles of shingles up a ladder when I was about 14. Kind of going through the strokes of graduating to the nail guy, the guy wearing the Home Depot free apron they would give you,
Yeah.
and then it'd be full of nails because back then we just hand nailed, and you just have all these spiky nails just swinging in your bag. So that was a job for a while, and then got to be the shingle guy, sliding shingles down to the nailer, and then one day got to nail myself. So yeah,
It's a progression there.
yeah, and
Man.
then years later, I friend owned his own, still does his own roofing GC company. They do a ton of foundation repairs well down in Texas. Correct General Contracting. They kind of gave me my first real start and education into the insurance restoration side of things. And then it just progressed after I moved back into the Tulsa area, linked up with a company there, T-Town Roofing, and then that, from there, 100 other companies, and been through it all from, the sales guy, door knocking, to sales team leader, sales manager, project manager, and then on to, owning my own outfit and, failing, my way through it. But, and then, here I am.
Mm. Where was your dad's company located?
In Arlington, Texas. Yeah.
I can't imagine how fucking hot and challenging it would have to be to carry up bundles of shingles especially during the summertime, right?
Oh yeah, sucks.
There's
Sucks.
been some serious innovation over the last 20 years to make that less of a thing with manufacturers doing rooftop delivery, or they've got like the little fucking pulley things on the ladders that people send up shingles
Oh
on.
yeah, the elevators are now
Yeah.
the what do they call those? The equipters that not
Yep.
only act as the buckets to, for debris removal, but heck, you can put
Load shit.
material up there, all sorts of stuff. It's a great tool. Yeah, it's come a long way to nailers, just listening to guys. Right now I'm in Southwest Florida and Cape Coral, and there's composition shingles going on right now, and you can hear it all over just how fast those guys are just
Yeah.
six nails, just flying through it. It's crazy. Yeah, evolution of this industry in many ways, and then there's of course some archaic shit still around, but
Yeah,
that's all of life, right?
right. Yeah,
That's all industries.
things will evolve. Some will evolve more quickly than others, and
Yeah,
there'll be laggards. But eventually, shit'll change. That's all good.
yeah.
Through all your experience, like, you know, you were kind of working at the bottom, working your way up to being the nail guy, running sales team, being a salesperson. Failing your way through your words, through your company, and so like, what part was like, did you find the most intriguing? Like, even retrospectively, maybe not in the moment, but looking back at all your experience, what was most valuable to you?
Just really honestly being able to uh, find that you're really good at something and you actually do really like it and you can help someone and make a really damn good living at it. That was a really cool feeling. Because I think for me, growing up, there was always ideas of, especially, the way I grew up with, one foot in hell and the other in heaven, I guess. Um, flying by the seat of my pants. Sometimes that, is not part of the plan or never just would have thought. So, um, yeah, so finding purpose in what
Mm.
I do and like, and actually really enjoying it. That was kind of a moment because especially in this industry, in the construction roofing industry, you always see highlighted the either the nasty, and I've been through the nasty rigors of it, but really to step back and see, uh, damn, I've come a long way and I've done so much that I'm proud of because of this industry. And so when it was that moment towards like, I'm not going to give up on this industry, I almost did. I really did. And it's what made me make the switch over to becoming a PA. Um, but I didn't, when I finally decided that I wasn't going to give up on this like family, this culture, and all this information, and it just would be a big waste, I think, to go to let it go. So I actually dipped out of the industry for 1 year and got into more of a marketing side of things, sitting behind a desk, doing reputation management through referral collection, doing B2B, being a sales development rep, sitting at demos and stuff for the account manager. It was a really cool environment, that one of the funnest cultures I'd ever been a part of. Very Google-ish at that time, and it was really cool in that time of my life where we had a bar on every, floor of the building. You could drink anytime, it was almost like a mix between, what do you call that show? The marketing show way back when that they stylized it and the damn it, men and damn it, the one that's all dudes, it's all marketing, and all they do is sit around and drink and damn it. Really? Mad Men. Thanks,
Mad Men.
babe. It
I've
was
never
very
watched
much
it.
like that, but
Never
without,
watched it.
all the negative stuff. It was really cool. But, I didn't want to throw all of this away. So I really that's when I kind of woke up and was like, you know what, this is actually something I love. And you can find shit you just don't like about every industry and anything you do. Um, but when I finally just owned it, that was probably just like, man, this is me. This is like what I'm good at, and I get to help people and just enjoy the life. You know, it's a choice. So I finally made that choice to really love this industry.
Good for you, man. I'm glad that you stuck with what made you happy. When exactly was it that you made that pivot into the marketing position?
Oh, that was what, 5 years ago. I did that for a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just coming off of a really bad breakup, relationship breakup, and as well as had a business, a roofing company there in Tulsa, and I had a business partner, and it was not a healthy business partnership, um, especially the other businesses that he was a part of. So I made the decision to run away from that situation. Um, and then everything else tumbled down, when there's kind of that vacuum and the funds flowing as if they once were, and then relationships end, and then okay, I hate this, industry anyways, whatever, jump into a new one, learn a ton. I really enjoyed it. Went through a very big downward spiral for a couple of years. It was great. And fought my way back. So, retrospect, it's all for something, right? Even that little break. So that's my big takeaway from that.
I mean, that's a good lens to look at things through, I think. And I think that it's challenging in those moments where things are less than desirable as far as one aspect or many aspects of your life, depending on, I mean, I can point a finger where, I mean, everything was a complete clusterfuck, and I
Hmm.
was probably the biggest reason for it. Right? It's
Yeah,
just
right.
poor decision after poor decision. Fucking, oh, well, you know what? We're going to go for broke and make 7 more poor decisions this week, and
Yeah,
it's all
that
good.
I
I'm
know
pot
that.
committed to poor decisions this week, and then this week turns into this month. And then you look back, it's like, fuck, I've made a year of really bad choices. But there is a lot of benefit like that, from like I put it as like this, like, I've burnt my life to the ground before through like perpetual bad choices for a long period of time, and the character that I've developed as a result of being climbing back out of hell. I feel like I can overcome anything now. Like,
Right.
battle tested, right? So yes, it
Exactly.
sucked. Nobody wants to be at rock bottom or even anywhere close to it. But the good news about rock bottom is you can only go up from there,
Right.
right?
And usually you're coming out of it with like you said, like a new set of eyes. You're looking
Hmm.
through a new lens with all that experience, all of that heartache, all of that self-loathing, all of that not trusting yourself. Coming out of that has a lot of benefit. Um, and I'm finally getting to see a little bit of the payoff. For me, I just experienced something to where when you feel like someone has really wronged you, and even after you wake up and you get out, outside of like the situation, and you still can see where, yeah, that, they really screwed me over,
Hmm.
and I wanted to see them crash and burn. That selfish part of me is like, I want to beat the shit out of you for what you did, but
Yeah.
I can't because I got things to do. And so then, with even trying to be as positive as I feel I am, there's still that natural side of me that's like, selfishly, that what comes around goes around. You're going to get what you deserve, which, yes, that does happen and that should happen, right? At least that's what we want as selfish people, as humans. But I did, my last employer kind of, it was pretty big. I'm sure you probably saw it too. I'm not going to throw out any names, but it was pretty big, pretty big. This person went bankrupt, kind of all the things that all the things I try to communicate that were going to happen if they continue down this path of just not waking up and seeing. When even I've been in these where it's like, I'm not going to listen to anybody. I'm just going to believe my own shit and live my own lifestyle until it all just crumbles down in front of me. I've been there before. And but when that day finally came, it was just recent, and I commented briefly on, like, this is what you get. You you fucked me over and other people, and but then it just really started eating at me. And I think it was through the growth of going through my own shit that was like, I don't really want that to happen. This is not what I wanted for that person. I wanted them to have their wake up without all of this being exposed in front of everyone. So much embarrassment. I wanted that to be behind closed doors, where you can be embarrassed with yourself, with being who you've been, and be able, usually those are the best ways to do it. But sometimes it just takes that shame, where you just walk through the streets and people are throwing fruit at you, screaming shame. That's where he's at right now. I'm trying to make a pivot and a transition and eat and crow and all of that. So I didn't want that. So I think that growth, seeing with the new lenses, helped me to realize, I've been a real sack of shit before in my life before. And I really want people, the ones that I know that I've hurt, I want them to forgive me. And even though I know it'll never, be healed, there's a lot of times just fallout from those bad areas, or what we call them seasons in life. There's some of that fallout that you're just unrepairable. Um, and so for him, I hate that when so that was kind of a takeaway guy going through all of that to finally help me, I guess, with some grace, to where it's like, I really do want that person to succeed and to take this opportunity of being publicly humiliated on a very big platform, one of the largest in our industry. And I felt bad for him. And so I erased it and reached out, and I feel better for it. But I do know that me being an idiot and going through my, my terrible seasons that I put myself through really helped me have new lenses that have more love with those lenses.
Yeah, that's good shit, man. And it's tough, right? Like, especially if you've been wronged. I don't know about everybody, but I think that like that vindication, that petty side of us that's evoked. I mean, for me, it almost feels like an intuitive response. If like I really feel like I was wrong, to feel like I hope that this, and it's like it takes consistent self awareness and situational awareness and empathy. Like, and for me, those are like more learned traits. Those aren't things that, when I was a kid, I wasn't compassionate or anywhere. When I was a teenager, I had nowhere near the empathy that I have now. I fucking promise you. I'm like, fuck that guy. All right, that dude's a piece of shit. And fuck him too, because he's with him. So it's like, I applaud the fact that, you wavered from what you were trying to do, and then you acknowledged it, and then you went back and took action. You deleted it, like you said, you reached out, because that shit's not easy. It's not. It's a constant struggle for me. I know that. A lot of people are like, there's always like some positive talk. Everyone super positive. I'm super positive, and for me, like that's not my reality. Things aren't always fucking
Hmm.
hunky dory, rainbows and butterflies, and yeehaw. We're having the best day of our lives every day of our lives. There's a lot of L's that you're going to take, in my experience, on a day to day, week to week, month to month, and trying to not take things for granted, isolate what matters to you, and focus on what you find important to be a good person, so you can tolerate the reflection of that person you see in the mirror. That's what I found helps me. And
Hmm.
that's fucking amazing that you're doing such a good job with it, because that's a hell of a transformation to make. And I've got a long way to go, Cam. Got a long way to go myself on that journey.
Dude, so do I. I still do, and I appreciate you for one. But yeah, I mean, we all do, right? It's what makes it count. Is it is an everyday job to tweak, to fine tune. We're like these, these machines that rust, that deteriorate, and if we don't keep practiced, you either use it or lose it, and that comes into play with our heart, with our activity, who we surround ourselves with, and who we really feel and understand that we want to be, or we want to be perceived. Or at the end of the day, who do I even like me? Like you're talking about, if at the end of the day, if I can look at that guy in the mirror and be like, or is it all just bullshit? If I even bullshit, I don't want to make sure I'm not that guy that's bullshitting myself. Um, so I've definitely been there. So I'm very hyper focused on being a douchebag to myself.
Are you competitive?
Yeah, I definitely am competitive.
Mm.
Um, but I'm also to a point to where like there's a competitive side of people that I know it's awesome to, or it makes them sick to their stomach if they can't win, like at anything and everything. And I get that. It's what drives some of the craziest, most successful, most intuitive, creative people on this planet. I'm not that guy. I'm the guy that thinks, yeah, I'm in it. I'm engaged. I want to win. I want to fight you. I want it, whatever it is, tooth and nail. But if I lose at the end of the day, I'm on a fucking rock that's going through space around a sun, or, really what's in my control. What, and it's a fine line of like being almost not be, I guess, nihilistic. Not that I don't care, but at the end of the day, I'm like, dude, we're fucking lucky to even be here and even playing whatever game we're playing, even if it's work, football, whatever it is that you want to win at. We're just lucky to be doing it. So, because at any moment we can pretend that all this planning and we got all this future and building wealth and legacy, all that shit could be wiped out like that, and no one would know anything. And outside of this planet, no one would fucking know or care. So with that thought and constant reminder helps me be, yeah, it sucks to lose, but let's fucking learn something. Keep going and have fun because it was just dope to be a part of it.
Yeah, I was just, I was curious because you mentioned being in sales, and usually there's a correlation between sales and competitiveness. And when people, when you talk about, loving yourself or liking yourself, even, not you in particular, but in general, I start to think like, okay, so how does the person that I'm talking to or another person like define whether or not they're happy with the person that they are and I feel like a lot of people, especially in sales, there's some correlation to the productivity, and maybe it's not just productivity by way of sales numbers, but if you're a salesperson and you're competitive, I think a lot of people do equate self-worth to some degree with what they're producing,
Hmm. Yeah.
and that always intrigued me.
I think for me, like sales, it was just communicating with people is what kept me sticking with it. Is just being the subject matter expert, even in the beginning of sales when you're just faking the funk and just reading the bullet points of your, okay, it's impact resistant, oh, and it's just, and then, before you really are a master and a doctor of it, and
Yeah.
um, like most football players, like quarterbacks, by the time they have to retire, they're like Troy Aikman. He was, you know, in his brain, he knew it all. He had it all figured out, but his body couldn't keep up. Got hit too many times.
Right.
Um, so by the time I got out of like roofing cells and product knowledge and all of that was pretty high. It was pretty down. There wasn't much faking the funk. Um, but yeah, being the aspect of like making like more and more, money, more sales, more money. It just was always a tool for me.
Okay.
Um, I think like most, I mean, it literally is. To get the shit you want in life, you got to have money. To make changes in this world positively, you have to have money. I mean, what's that one guy, that little short billionaire guy that just screams and tells people to, shut the fuck up. What's his name? He's right about so much, but he's hilarious. He doesn't give a shit. Um,
Short billionaire guy that screams at people.
Glasses. He's always dressed in an awesome suit. What's his name? Someone's gonna say it whenever this is being played, but he's hilarious. I mean, but he's so right. But he's just like, you want to change the fucking world? You gotta have money. You want to, save the forest? You gotta have money. Like,
Have you ever seen the movie Boiler Room?
yes, God, yes.
Yeah, he was like,
Great
whoever told
movie.
you money doesn't buy happiness doesn't fucking have any. Throws his keys on the table. He's like, these are the keys to my $500,000 house and my Ferrari, whatever the fuck he says. It's fucking, that scene always stuck with me.
Yeah, it's true. But there's also for me too. There's another part of me, um, especially being here in Florida, really wakes up that like God, you could put me on a damn island and as long as people that I love, I'd be fine. I mean, I'd even be fine by myself. Um, but like that's part of me too. That's like, man, you could just put me on an island, live the rest of my life being a fisherman, building a house out of bamboo and some damn trees. I don't need much to be happy. I just need quality time um, with the planet and with the people I love. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in situations where I made objectively very, very good money and I was fucking miserable. In fact, probably one of the most miserable points in my life, I was making probably the most money I'd ever made. Well, definitely the most money I'd ever made. And I'm like, yeah, it's not that important. You reach like a tipping point where once you meet your basic needs, have some semblance of disposable incomes where you can do things, have a car, and do like cover your basic needs, and take your wife out to dinner, or go hang out with your kids and go do something fun for a weekend at Kalahari or whatever. It's like
Hmm.
all the extra stuff is nice, and you can leverage it in a way to make a positive impact. And I love making money myself, but it doesn't equate to happiness. It can help. It can definitely help, though. It can
Hmm.
help. So
For sure.
it's all
Yeah,
about
I could be
finding
spear.
balance.
Yeah.
Find
I
balance.
could be
Right?
spearfishing all day and be happy, but like you're saying, I think it was that one other idiot, Blazerian, whatever. People call him a fake to do with the beard and mohawk for a lot.
Okay.
Anyway, talking about, ultra, rich people. Like after a while, there's not many things that you can buy that really get you hyped up anymore. So you've got to find other things in life that like kind of keep you rolling. When the Rolls Royces and all that shit really doesn't just get your blood pumping anymore. And a lot of that is, turns into philanthropy, and hopefully should. Um, when you get bored with all the cool stuff that we dreamed about as kids when we had the,
We got
Lamborghini,
everything now.
poster you'd buy at the book fair, and you're like, one day
I
I'm gonna
guess I'll
have
give you
10
a
of
million
those.
dollars.
Yeah, one of them I'm gonna have 10 of those with Christy Brinkley coming out and giving me beer while I'm jamming my Alpine radio.
Christy
I'm like,
Brinkley.
yeah. We're gonna have sex every hour on the hour. That as a boy was what a dream, making it was, right?
That's fucking hilarious, dude. How old are you, Cam?
41. I'll be 42 in March, so almost there, dude.
All right, 41,
42.
42. So if you had to look in hindsight and you had to identify a 5-year gap of time that had the most tremendous and lasting impact on you, what 5-year block of time would you name, and what did you pull out of that made it so meaningful?
Hmm. Man, that's a good question. Um, that's tough. Of course, it's a tough question.
Take your time, brother. This one wasn't. This wasn't. This just came up organically, but based on this conversation, I'm really excited to hear your answer. So take as much time as you need to parse through that.
I think that are the most like growth. Um, Probably the last couple years of my dad being alive. Actually, tomorrow comes up on 18 years that he's been dead. And just a little backstory. My dad, that I call my dad, was my stepfather. He raised me since I was about 6 months old. Best dude in the world. Incredible. My best friend. Um, but before he had passed away, he and my mother had to move to Las Vegas to chase a job. My dad had lost his job at his tenure, and it took him a while to find another job making anywhere comparable to what he was used to making. So they had to make that move. And my mom was distraught about it and hitting that wine and just distraught. Like she had new grandkids and stuff that she was going to be, not being able to see for a while. She wasn't really taking it well, and I guess providing what you would think with the support a husband would need when having to make such sacrifices to keep the family rolling. And by
Sure.
this time, I was living by myself. Um, down, I was in a band. I was living that single life, enjoying life, really enjoying it. And I could just tell, like, I couldn't let my dad go down like that. So I remember just a couple weeks before they moved, because the company he was working for, they were putting him up in a condo, a really nice place. And I asked him, I was like, "Are you gonna have any room up there for me if I come and stay?" And he's flipped out. He's like, "No, no way. I didn't want to ask you." Like, I was like, "I'm not gonna let mom like drive you fucking crazy, while you're over there, dude." I was like, "And I'm not gonna let you have all the fun without me." I was in my early 20s at this time, and so we moved to Vegas. I, left where I was living with my buddies and moved to Las Vegas. I got a job at the tan factory. I was a freaking manager. Look at me, I was born with this tan. I don't need the tan. I get like Aborigine dark during the summers. But I'm I'm managing this tan factory and
Yeah,
giving them.
me too.
Yeah, you're like a polar bear in Buffalo, right?
Right.
Um, But anyhow, that was a great experience because at that time I was like everything I made for the family. Like my checks went straight to my dad. We shared one car because it was a very stressful time for them because he wasn't making nowhere near what he was, and that was a big emotional. It took a big strain, I think, on him, like emotional, just prideful. The
Yeah.
way that he exited his last company was kind of, the old man was kind of put out to the pasture, per se, and it was very disheartening. I think broke his heart a bit. But we had a blast out there in Vegas, and I got to provide with my family and for my family for for the bottom line, keep the lights on and keep this thing rolling. And I got to be roommates with my parents as an adult. So that was a really cool thing. And we would break away like on a weekend and go to the local casinos and stuff. We lived in Summerlin, which was like 10, 15 minutes from the strip. But all the local casinos, those are the ones to go to. Um, Great cheap meals, breakfast, all the buffets, all that. So that was a cool environment. And then after that, when we got back to Texas, because he got another job back in Texas, and so we moved back, and I, of course, started living downtown Dallas, not shortly after my dad had passed away. And once again, I jumped out of my kind of selfish young rockin', environment I was in and moved in with my mom to help with that whole transition. Um, but I do remember that being pretty dynamic evolution for me because I remember sitting right, a couple of days before Christmas, looking at their Christmas tree over at their house and just thinking about, this is my new life without my best friend and just feeling like what's the rest of this life going to look like? Man, everything was planned with him in it,
Right.
having kids, everything, so I found myself just really just hating God, hating life, and just being so pissed about this new fucking situation life had found me in. Um, but I remember I'm just looking at the lights on the Christmas tree glisten and stuff, all the presents that like I didn't even want to look at those. I wanted to throw them in the ocean, because Christmas, it just ruined it.
No.
But in that moment going through that moment in my mind and just self-loathing, just bawling my eyes out on the news, all of a sudden everything changed. Like all like what was being broadcast on the news on every damn channel. I kept changing the channel, like get off here. It was like all the emergency banners and shit. Like I don't give a shit about that, whatever that
Right.
is. Finally, fast forward so I don't take forever. Ended up being the tsunami that killed like 200 something thousand people in an instant.
Where was that?
Um,
Indonesia?
yeah, like yeah, all up and down. Like
Yeah.
it was crazy. And when, just thinking about that many people losing their lives and how it like counterbat like just affects so many other people, like the spider web of connection, and how that's quantified into the millions and millions of people that are now affected by this devastation. It really kind of sobered me up and woke me up, um, to just like, dude, I was so lucky. Don't be a bitch. And really started using my dad's story and his love as a fire to, even though I saw myself through some, into some really dark times, um, but I saw myself through those, of course, with the
Right.
help of friends and family. Um, but so yeah, those couple of years there, I think were as hard and painful those were. They're I think some of the most beneficial to me, even though in retrospect, my dad missed out on me, being in the army and graduating and becoming an MP, all the things that a son, would, a father would be so proud of, having a son of my own and a daughter, going through all these tribulations and then, growing into where I am today. He's missed out on all those moments, but I think through his message that lives through me, I think so many more people are able to benefit from me going through that traumatic loss and pain. It helps me to love and to help understand when people maybe aren't treating me the way that I want them to. Um, it really helps me pause to understand, man, maybe they're going through some shit that you just don't know. And you need to hold your tongue and maybe hold your decision making based off of that. And because I've been an idiot, I've been broken, I've been lost, I've been abandoned, and it's not easy being a human on this planet. So those
No.
to answer your question, that those years right there and coming out of that, um, because also I had my son in those 5 years within that 5 year gap. which I took as kind of a sign from God that like this was my kind of like that Indiana Jones swap, on with the head and the sandbag. Like, but you get your son, and so yeah, my son has been, is an awesome gift, which I'm about to go travel to Oklahoma to see him too tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a good
Yeah, I mean
question.
that's. I mean, I'm not sure that there could be a better answer to that question. Thank you for opening up and sharing that, because I'm sure it's not easy to talk about. But you know, so my stepfather was very big in my life as well. Um, Same type of thing. He came into my life. I mean, before I was walking, and he and my mom, they were together until I think I was 13, and then they broke up. But we were still best friend, greatest
Hmm.
guy in the world. I'd be, without him in my life, I would have been probably not just like a half a piece of shit, an entire piece of shit.
Yeah, for sure. I feel you on that one right there with you.
I think he passed about 7 years ago. So yeah, man, it's crazy. I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way when they lose somebody so close to them, where it's like this fucking life, it's something like
Hmm.
fuck this. But I similarly, I tried to come around to the sense where it's like I was really lucky to have this guy in my life for
Hmm.
almost 30 years, 25 years, whatever it was. Where, there's a lot of people that don't have that or haven't had that and never know what it's like to have somebody like that to count on and to rely on and to be a part of your life. So it's fucking crazy, isn't it? Isn't the way, like, the world we live in is crazy.
It is, man.
Yeah, but I love talking about this stuff, man. It makes me feel good, and I'm happy that you found your way through and that you were blessed to have such a positive force in your life for the time that you did.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate that. Right back at you. It's
Thank you.
important. And then, like going through those, like that old saying goes, what is it? Basically being brokenhearted and losing, it's a lot better than never being, loved or have loved at all. Right? Like you're saying, like so many people aren't as lucky as us, to have been loved so much unconditionally, by someone. And when you do lose that person, it's scary, because that's
Yeah,
like the one person, like, damn it, loves you regardless of what a dumbass you were. And when you lose that, that can be very scary, at first, um, because this is, like I said, it's a big planet swirling
yeah,
around in a bunch of nothingness, and it's scary to be it alone. And but when you wake up and you kind of just look over, like us being able to talk and just ask the same question, and like, are you all right? More than not, you're going to hear the same stories, but just told with different characters and in different timelines and different settings. But it's the
yep,
same stories, and it helps you realize that, hey, you're not alone in this. That person that you did trust so and dearly with everything and felt so safe with, they may not be here anymore. But man, if you just try, there is someone to love and to love you and make you feel safe and warm around every corner. You just have to, sometimes say hi. And that's one thing I am very, I love that my son has taken from me. Uh, and because wherever we're at, there's always an opportunity to just say hi and start a conversation. In the food line, checking out, doesn't matter. Um, and it may just change someone's day for the best. And so, man, I love this life, and I love the tribulations, and being able to share them like this again just makes you feel good. Like I seriously, like now I'm carrying around a big ball in my chest, a lot of shit going on, good things. Um, but it's a lot, and success sometimes can be scary, you know. Like you
oh yeah,
sometimes you got to tell that voice in your head to shut up, that little echo of, well, curveball's waiting around the corner. It's going way too good. You're gonna fuck it up, or someone else, like, shut up, like, well as but just having these conversations, just those help relieve so much pressure and tension, just to be able to share and talking to some other friends that we have in kind. These times of years are rough and tough, and we put on all these big smiles and fronts, and it's okay to talk. That is, I think, one of the best things to do. Like, I'm so glad that we able, especially right now, be able to reconvene and have this conversation again that, like you said, was screwed up by technology, because it's perfect timing, perfect time of the year. There are going to be, especially living here in Florida and realizing so many of my clients are not only going through the loss of their entire home, but they just lost a partner over the past couple of years. You know, a lot of my clients are senior citizens here in Florida, and they just lost a partner, a husband or a wife, just during COVID years, the past couple of years, and now they're dealing with this, and now this is their first Christmas without their loved one after losing their entire house that they built together. Um, it's a perfect time to have these conversations to help you realize what you have, and sometimes, the greatest gifts are those unanswered prayers, because they get you to where you are and and who you are with in these moments. I couldn't be happier with who I'm with, working with, partnered with, my relationship, my personal relationship with my girlfriend. My son is about to be 16. I mean, driving, crazy shit is happening. Good things are happening. Yeah, I'm very thankful to be here.
Yeah, man, I can't imagine, you get one of your clients, you think about it, you build a house together, your love of your life passes away, your fucking house is devastated by a hurricane. Like, I'm usually pretty good at like empathizing and putting myself in other people's shoes at this point in my life, but I just can't imagine. That's got to be so fucking shitty.
Yeah. And there's, I'd have to say, like, half of my job, I think, is just almost being a counselor, an ear, just to listen.
That shit's
Sometimes it's this.
incredibly valuable though, especially for people that don't have an outlet, right? To have somebody that they feel comfortable just talking to about something
Mhm.
that's so, I guess, intimate, right? That's it's it's got to make you feel good. I used to do a lot of that when I was in collections, when I was in college from the age 18 to 27. Took me 9 years to get a 4-year degree. Mom, you always told me I was smart. I had my daughter when I was young. My daughter's about to be 16 as well in August. So I had my daughter when I was 19. So I did, I worked, went to school, raised my daughter. So school went part-time. But I did collections because I was good at it, and I could have conversations with people through challenging conversations and be a complex problem solver. And they were very flexible with my schedule, so it worked out. But that's a lot of what the success was just not being an asshole and taking an interest in how you can help somebody. And it's like,
Mhm.
asking questions, and eventually you'll get to a solution if you just keep asking questions of like
Mhm.
understand what their issue is, give them some insight on how you can help people, and usually they pull a lot more out of that than just the solution you give them as far as like the relationship.
Mhm. True.
You know?
True. And like, yeah, I was actually just finished reading this one book. It's about just asking the right questions, about being a leader and leading your team. And of course, asking the right questions are, sometimes more important than the answer itself. But asking questions in such a way that, let them come up with the answer, instead of being, always the one that is, advice. Because more times than not, people really don't ever take your damn advice. They may be an asshole, and they're going to ask your ass off and spend 2, 3 hours on the phone with you about what they should do. And like, and then they end up doing the exact opposite, 9 times out of 10. They're just assholes. We do it. We all do it. Um, so really, the best thing to do is just to listen and to ask the right questions at the right time. And hopefully what I got out of the book is let them answer those questions through them answering, some of those questions that they end up asking themselves, and like they end up owning it and can grow from it more when it's, and I find that to be true, like doing this, because sometimes I get uh when you get the same phone calls every day, I had to check myself for being an asshole myself, because when you see a certain name come up, you know what's coming. When you get that phone call, you're like, oh shit, this customer. I've already told you 10 damn times, like, And so I had to check myself and say, shut up, answer the phone, and just listen. And there'll be sometimes where I don't say a damn thing for 45 minutes. At the end of it, the lady, it's usually, a woman. I've had a couple of the men, like the guys, the ones that are the older men that have lost their wives too. Um, they end up just thanking, just like at the end, it was just like, ah, thanks, Cam. Thanks for letting me vent. Like, I really, honestly, I feel like a jerk because I really didn't have anything productive to talk about. I just had to bitch. And it's for some reason, you're always the person that I know I can call and bitch to. And you let me. And thank you for that. And that right there is probably one of my favorite thank yous. And like, wow, I'm like making a difference. It's not just, oh yeah, I got the insurance to pay you $1 million. It's, yeah, well, thank you. That made me feel awesome that like it's not for nothing because it can be taxing emotionally. When you're
Oh
getting
yeah.
beat up, you're getting the good stuff, but then you're getting, you feel like you're getting beat up every damn day, emotionally, verbally. Sometimes you
Oh
literally
yeah.
are.
Well, and it's like you can see. I'm sure you acknowledge the value because you know how important it is when somebody that you talk to and allows you to vent, like how that makes you feel, engaging in that deep conversation and getting shit off your chest. For
Hmm.
me, that's there's not much better. There's really not many more things that are more impactful than having a relationship with somebody who's willing to take some of that shit off of you, right? Whether it's a therapist, whether it's a wife, whether it's a good
Hmm.
friend, being able to get that shit off your chest is unquantifiably impactful, right? So somebody calling you and being able to unload a little bit and they feel comfortable, how good you've just made them feel. And I can't
Hmm.
imagine that wouldn't make you feel just as good.
Yeah, just like this. Like, people may look at podcasts that just don't understand them. I think I did too, but I have learned so much from just podcasts. From And the biggest thing is just to open up and share. That's the biggest thing I've learned is just to shut up and share, not to be afraid of this, because this can be stressful and like get your anxiety going because possibly tons of people are going to see it and judge the living shit out of you. Uh, but it's through stuff like this that I've learned to, I've gotten so much help from people like you and other, um, marketing influencers that are just bringing a lot of people together just to have a conversation. And I think it helps when other people can just be searching and not even know they're searching for maybe this video and they come across it. And maybe and hopefully it has a domino effect of help and change positively that like it's done with for me is just it's been awesome. So thanks for doing this kind of cool shit that you
Thanks, man. I fucking love it. Someday I'm
Yeah,
gonna I'm gonna retire and all I'm gonna do is podcasts all day.
dude, that'd be awesome. You're great at
Dude,
it.
I thoroughly enjoy it. I honestly do. Just talking to people. There's so many different stories, and while there's similarities, there's just as much contrast. And the perspective of 100 different people that even if they went through identical situations, can be so much different from one person to the next. And I love hearing it, and I love taking other people's perspective into consideration, because that can help shape. And that's not always going to
Mhm.
change my perspective. It might not change it at all, but it might. And if I don't listen to anything and hear these stories, what am I doing to grow? I'm not doing anything. So it's like, selfishly, I get a ton of benefit out of it too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really fucking good. It's funny
Well,
when we were just talking. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
you go ahead.
No, well, we were talking about our stepdads, right? And I'm thinking that you were talking about unconditional love and that person that's there for you. There was one time where I questioned it, and I think I was like 9 years old, and we were at a Wilson Farms, which is like I'm in Buffalo, New York, so now there's 7-Elevens. They got bought out, but they're convenience stores, right?
Hmm.
I was with a friend Joe, and Joe was one of those kids where he did things that weren't condoned by parents, and I, for the most part, wasn't that person. later on in life, I made a lot of shitty choices, but at that point in my life, I was kind of a by the books kind of kid. Because my older sister, she was like, she pushed the envelope, and I see what would happen when she would do it, and I'm like, I don't want that smoke, right? I'm like, I'll just listen to y'all, and it'll be. So Joe and I go to Wilson Farms, and he starts stealing all these candy bars, and I'm like, oh fuck it, I want a couple candy bars, and I'm broke, so I guess I'll do it if Joe's gonna do it. So we got caught, got pinched. They called my parents. My stepdad comes, bro. This dude never laid hands on me except this one time. My man gave me the whooping of a lifetime. I mean, the dog was attacking him as he's doing it. He's fucking throws the dog, whack, whack. And I was like, I was terrified. I was like, and it took me. It didn't take me as long as you would think as like a young kid to realize that like it was from a place of love to really deter me from doing shit.
Yeah.
In full disclosure, I never felt good about it. Not when I was doing it, not before I was doing it, and especially not after I had done it. But yeah, he set the tone for like, you're going to be a man of character, and I'm going to, impart that upon you at a very early age. It's fucking funny, dude.
Yeah,
I
I
was just
was. My
watching the
dad was an
dog go
old school
flying
dad.
back as he's like, whoosh, tush, tush, tush. It's good. It's good.
Yep.
Probably the
Yep.
best thing anyone's ever done for me.
Oh yeah, I got my fair share of ass whoopings,
Yeah.
backhands at the table for saying the most inappropriate shit. We had a weeping willow tree in the backyard from first to second grade, which was terrible because those were some very the beginning of some challenging times. So I was always picking switches.
My mom was always the one like, you know what, go get the belt. Like, would make you walk to go get the apparatus you're about to take a couple licks with, right? So it was never him. So in that moment, it was him. It was fuck. Yeah, go get the thing. I'm gonna adjust your attitude with. It's like fuck. It's
Yeah,
only 1/16 of a mile or 1/24 of a mile to get to the belt. But man, if
tough forever. It's like that
long
tunnel
walk.
keeps getting longer. Yeah.
Oh, it's fucking
Well,
funny,
dude, what do you
dude.
got coming up for what are you excited about? You've asked all the questions. What are you excited about this year coming up, this first Q1? You guys got some big plans?
Yeah, I'm excited for a lot, honestly. We're going on our honeymoon. So we got married in September, my wife and I,
Hmm.
and she's such a great woman. The next day we had to fly down to Raleigh or Charlotte. We did the one industry, one model thing, and then we
Oh
went to
yeah.
TJ's event down wherever in Florida, roofing ahead of the curve. So like that was our honeymoon. Literally, our wedding went to like 1 in the morning, and we flew out at 7 a.m.
She love you any less because of that the honeymoon you gave her?
No, because now we're going to Costa Rica in January. I made good on the promise. I'm like, I'll make it up to you. So we're going to Costa Rica. I'm excited for that.
Dude, that's cool.
Yeah, dude, we're doing we've got the roofing process conference in Orlando. I am excited for that as well. I'm going to the Wealth Builder, I think, in San Antonio in March, the GAF event.
Oh, cool.
With a client, I was asked to come with a client by way of GAF, so that was fucking dope. Excited for that. And excited, we're gonna be bringing on a couple new employees, and I'm always excited to grow. I mean, for me, bringing on employees is like, dude, it's kind of like traveling. I like the end result and being there much more than I like the logistics of getting there. And that probably sounds shitty to say, but honestly, where we're at as a company, like I do a lot of the ads, the recruiting, part of the interview process, and it's challenging. I think I'm not. We don't have an HR department, and we don't have a recruitment company that handles it for us. As we get bigger, it'll change, but for the meantime, it's not my favorite part of the job.
Yeah.
I hate flying, right? I'm gonna love being in Costa Rica. I just fucking hate planes, so I hate the logistics of getting there and back. But when I'm there, it's gonna be amazing. When we get our new employees, it's gonna be fucking great.
I'm right there with you. I'm trying to make it more and more as I'm gonna John Madden it, and I don't want to be on planes. I can't stand planes anymore. I YouTube has really ruined me. Just because all you see is shit breaking on YouTube, all the crazy stuff. Um, but yeah, Costa Rica, I've never been. What are y'all gonna do?
God, I don't like planes. I don't like heights. The jungle freaks me out a little bit. I'll do the jungle stuff. So we don't have much of a plan. We're gonna fly in. We're going, I think, to through the Liberia airport, which is the west coast of Costa
Mhm.
Rica, and we're gonna be about 40 minutes from our hotel. I'm sure there's like some cool fishing type expeditions. So I don't like fishing because I don't like baiting hooks and pulling shit off. It fucking freaks me out if I'm being honest. But they do all that shit for you, like on these little
Yeah, they
fishing
will.
expeditions they do. So like that, I would love doing that. I would love like taking ATVs through like the jungle. Like that would be really cool, a lot of fun. I grew up driving four wheelers and shit, so I would have a lot of fun doing that.
What
When I
about
go on
this?
vacation, I don't like to have a ton of structure.
Yeah, I don't really like that at all. Um, I like to adapt and just, go, be adaptable. Be like
Yeah,
water. What was I saying?
yeah.
Would you do this? What if they had a package to where it's kind of like, what's that one Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, Total Recall, where they pump a fake memory in your brain, but instead they're like, you're the one that sets it up. Your wife doesn't know anything about this, but you set up this Costa Rican, like, get kidnapped by some drug cartel, get, yeah, they just grab y'all. Y'all are on the way to dinner or something. She's wearing her like beautiful luau dress or whatever, and you're in your Tommy Bahama shirt, just cool as shit. You guys are about to go to dinner, and out of nowhere, this freaking van pulls up, and these guys are just speaking Spanish and just pull y'all in there and put like rags like over your head, and off the adventure goes. And now, like, you got all the plans. It's almost like who done it, you've got like your script, you got to go out, you've been practicing before. And again, this is a service that you're going to pay for. Maybe it's a business we could open. You're going to go see out in Costa Rica for us. But they
I'll
take you
scout
on
it.
this chase. They're drug cartel people, and they're threatening to kill you. Your wife, of course, is shitting her pants because she thinks this is real, and you're going along with it because, of course, it's scary as shit. And you don't even know, is this real or is it fake? I don't really know. I don't trust these Costa Ricans. I don't know. And they're just like maybe punching you a little too hard and saying "Cállate," and hitting you with a butt stroke, and oh, that is a rubber gun, thank God. And so yeah, you really sell it, and then but you end up saving the day. Basically, it's in it. You fight off these bad guys and shoot. It's blank blanks. Would you do an adventure like that if they're like, we can guarantee your safety? Um, I mean, your wife might have PTSD from it. You may too, but I think you both would be better for it. And it could be like, hey, are you a new couple? Are you just getting married? Most marriages fail in the first 3 years. Well, this will lock you in forever. No, or this will either make or break you immediately, so that way you can still
Not
get
even
it. And
Facebook could ruin this marriage if
yeah,
you could get through
if
this.
you get through this, it's still so fresh in your marriage that you can get it annulled if you find out it's not going to work because she just wouldn't like eat a bullet for you. There's that moment. There's a trust fall moment within this package to see if she really is your partner. To like, they got like a fake gun to her head, like, you even tell us the message or we'll kill your husband, and she's like, oh, kill him, screw him, and you're
Yeah.
like, bitch, really? Yeah. Dunskies. Annulled. Click.
I feel like that should be a post engagement prenuptial trip.
Yeah.
I like the idea of that in that context because I
Like,
feel like after the marriage it could either really strengthen the marriage or it could make her divorce you immediately.
yeah, I guess it could still be so
Or maybe we
exciting.
maybe we never tell her it was real. Maybe you just save the day and never tell her it was fake
And
and
she just thinks my husband is the best
fucking
hero.
savage.
He loves me. He was literally about to take a bullet for me, and then he ripped the gun out of the guy's hand and beat the shit out of all eight of them. And she's telling this story to the kids. You are like this, like, fishtail guy that, I mean, there's no wrong.
Yeah, 7 generations later, you're still a fucking legend.
Dude, legend.
Yeah.
Yeah. We should look into this. We
Yeah.
should do some sort of an A/B test to see. They've got the escape rooms now. They got stuff like that. There could be some. I think legal literature, verbiage in there that could safeguard a company, and maybe even you tell your partner, you know what, babe, I really want to marry you. I do. I feel I do. But I've signed us up for something, and if you sign on this dotted line over the next 72 hours, anything is possible. But there's no repercussion. You can't, you know, no legal recourse. We're gonna go through some shit. You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. But sign on the line, and like the moment she signs, you never know what's gonna happen or what's gonna happen. That could be adventure love. That's what we could call it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's some sort
Adventurelove.com.
of. I don't know the legality of how you'd have to position the waiver, but there's certainly waivers and things like that. I mean, I
Yeah.
like what comes to my mind as you're telling me this is that one haunted house. It's in like fucking Kentucky or Tennessee or something where I think X amount of people have died. Not a huge amount of people, but there's serious risk involved with it.
Sweet.
And they got to sign waivers. I think. I don't know.
That's
I'm
cool.
not with that shit though either. Like, don't fucking touch me.
Yeah.
I don't like. Don't be fucking grabbing my ankles, kick you in the face. Like, and it wouldn't even be intentional; it'd just be a fucking reflex. Dink.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel about haunted houses?
I used to love them. My brother and I, Halloween was like our favorite time, like smashing pumpkins and haunted houses. You can't do any of that shit anymore. Smashing pumpkins. Everyone's got Ring doorbells.
Oh, it's fucked
Um,
up.
but
Fucked the
yeah,
game up.
haunted houses. I used to love them because I never got scared. It was just because we'd bring girls with us, and you'd love their reactions, and of course they'd squeeze onto your hand, tighter. Um, but um, now I'm like you, like I don't know, touch me, like you don't know me, and if I punch you, maybe I have a moment and don't stop or something, then now you're in trouble. So I'd rather like no, I'll watch a scary movie that's crappy, at least be
Yeah.
okay legally. Yeah, they're just not fun like they used to be.
Mm.
I had a
What do
job
you?
at a haunted house once.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, all I did was take pictures of people in coffins. People would walk up, step into a coffin, and lay down, and I take pictures of them. That was my job.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it was great.
Seems easy enough.
It was very easy.
Hard to fuck that up, right?
Yeah, you know, lay
Get in the
down,
coffin.
get in the coffin. Here's your Polaroid.
Oh, that's fucking.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What's been your favorite job throughout your years on this rock?
Well, I love what I do now. Of course, it can be not fun because it's stressful at times, and you get really pissed at the carrier. Um, so that's a tough one. Really is. It's hard because like the company when I did working for that marketing company, that was awesome. The job itself was monotonous and boring because I made like 50 to 100 phone calls a day, but I had every amenity at my fingertips. My friends there and the culture there was incredible. It was a really um, even though I was going through a terrible time, it was still a fun, terrible time, if that makes
Right.
sense. Being reckless and stupid, you know, with a bunch of young kids that are just, it was fun. I lived downtown at the time. I could walk to work to the office 3 minutes. So, yeah,
Hmm.
it was a fun
Okay.
job. Fun job. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marketing guys suck. Believe me, I hear it all the time. You know? Now I've just like acquiesced to the fact that like, you know what? I don't know, people hate me. It's okay. It's
Yeah.
all right.
I loved welding. Welding was a fun job.
Hmm.
It was a
What'd
tough
you like
job.
about it?
Um, for one, just to have like the power of the sun at your fingertips, basically.
It's
You
fucking
could
crazy, right?
melt metal that was thick as shit. That was
Yeah.
cool. And just being able to build stuff and the artistic side of it too. Yeah, I liked it.
Hmm. Yeah,
But
I've
it's
never done welding. It seems cool. You get the big fucking mask, and like you said, this powerful flame,
mm-hmm.
and you can do anything. You got this
Yeah,
big, thick piece of metal. Yeah, we can bend it, sure.
it's fun. I got to work a little bit on the Dallas Cowboys stadium back in the day. Built some handrails there, welded.
Oh
That was
shit.
fun. Yeah.
The new one,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Well, I guess it's not new anymore. It was, I think, 2011 was the first season
I
there.
mean, that's still new. That thing's gonna be standing. It's gonna be like the Coliseum.
That place is
Fucking thing is
crazy.
outrageous.
I used to actually run an illegal poker house across the street from there. Well, actually, it's not even across. Yeah, it's gone.
I love illegal poker houses.
I know I wasn't even into poker. I'm not a gambler. I'm not good at it. But I had some buddies that had like five houses. And this was like after my dad passed away, literally within months. And I was like, hey, we need someone to like, kind of be the muscle and do the rake every 45 minutes and count the money and divvy it out. And I was like,
You ever
yeah,
see Molly's Game on Netflix?
yeah, I saw that.
Uh,
Yeah, we weren't that cool. That was real money. That was real money. Yeah,
yeah,
we just
that's
thought we were
dude.
cool.
It's too bad that it's too bad the Bills are so good and they're gonna win the Super Bowl this year.
You know what, my buddies? You really think that? You do.
Yeah,
That's good. I'm a fan. Um,
it's good. It's good.
well, I'm a fan because I mean, y'all's quarterback is awesome. Your team's great. I think my buddy's brother-in-law is still the special teams coach, Heath Farwell.
No kidding.
Yeah, he played for the Seattle Seahawks, got a Super Bowl ring on the IR list, and he played for Minnesota Vikings too.
I was at speaking of the Cowboys, so I was at Aria in Las Vegas and we were playing blackjack and I ran into Zeke Elliott.
Hmm.
And I'm like, "You mind if I play with you?" And he's like, "Yeah, once after this deck's done." I said, "All right, cool." So then I wait like I don't know, 12, 15 minutes for the deck to be done so I can play a couple hands of blackjack with Zeke, whatever.
Hmm.
Deck's done. He picks up to leave. I'm like, "Zeke, what's up, dude?" I'm like, "I just waited here for almost 15 minutes so I could have some stories for the grandkids about how I played cards with Zeke Elliott." He's like, "I got to go to a fight, man. We're going to watch the fight tonight." I'm like, "I promise you I won't talk about work." I'm like, can we just play a couple hands so I can tell everybody how cool it was to play cards with Zeke?" He's like, "Nah, I got to go." So Zeke's a dick.
Yeah, he's been a real asshole.
I
Took all
wanted to
that.
say, like, well, it's all good, dude. I can understand why you're frustrated taking it out on me because Tony Pollard's going to take your job in 2022. But,
Hmm.
so every time I see Tony Pollard break off a 20, 30, 50-yard play, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
And I try not to be that guy. Like we talked about in the beginning, I try not to wish ill on people. But I got to tell you, there's a small part of me that feels very good when I see Tony Pollard thrive. I don't know.
He's a
Sorry.
badass.
Zeke's going to be fine either way, though, right? He'll get
Yeah.
signed somewhere else. He'll make a lot of money. It's all
I
good.
hope we get rid of him this next year.
Tony Pollard's fucking good, dude.
He's a beast.
Yeah.
Zeke was a beast. It's just that that those millions went to his brain and he just stopped having, I guess, the hunger or the heart. I don't
You know,
know.
I've never ran a franchise like an NFL team.
I have
But you feel yeah, I have.
on
But you
Madden.
feel what's that? In
On
Madden?
Madden, I had one of the most
Yeah.
successful 10 years as a coach. Dude, we went to the Super Bowl like every
It was
year.
great. You should have been there. You just feel like that if you're Jerry Jones and the guy who's trying to negotiate a contract won't show up and is on a fucking yacht somewhere in the Indian Ocean or
Cancun.
wherever the fuck he was, that kind of like the writing's on the wall that you're not going to get like the best that you've got out of him is in the past,
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. That was totally
And those guys
disrespectful.
age fast too in general, running backs.
Running
And
backs, hell
Zeke's a
yeah, they
very
do.
good.
They get beat up.
Yeah, and he's an aggressive runner. That guy's never shied away from contact. So it's like 4 or 5 years in, it's like you're going to sign this dude to a massive deal. I don't know. Whatever. It's
How do
fine.
they get rid of him?
What's that?
How do they get rid of him? Who's going to pay that much for him?
God, I don't know. I don't know. It's a good question. Are the Cowboys your favorite team?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to the Super Bowl and we're going to win it.
You know what, dude? If the Bills don't, I hope you do. Did you see
I
the
don't
the
believe any of
little
that.
meme that
What
I
I just,
shared a couple weeks ago?
which one?
It was like breaking news. It was like an official NFL document, and it said, in light of a couple teams having potential home field advantage in the Super Bowl in back-to-back years, we've now decided we're gonna place the Super Bowl moving forward in Arlington, Texas, so it never happens again.
That's, yeah, I didn't
It's
see
fucked
that.
up.
I did not
It's a
see
cold
that.
world, dude.
Yeah, it is. It's very cold, but it's very true. I mean, anymore with sports, like the only reason why I keep up with any sports right now is because of fantasy football that I have with my buddies that I've had for years now. If it wasn't for that, I give two shits
I
anymore.
give two shits.
Seriously. There's always so much drama and BS and all the sports today that it's just like, who cares? I got a lot of other cooler stuff to do instead of worrying about some, running back who was just paid millions of dollars, doesn't want to come to training camp and is sucking ass now forever. Like, yeah, I don't care. He got his money. Good for him. Good for him.
Yeah, I mean, shit's crazy. No, nothing else about sports. What's your favorite pastime when you're not servicing clients? You said you're very in touch with Earth and you like fishing. Is it fishing? Is it canoeing? Is it
Um,
hiking?
I think hiking. Yeah. I mean, fishing is one of my all-time favorites too. You'll see me doing it a bunch. I love it, but just being able to go for hours on end hiking, seeing something new. Um, yeah, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, it's hiking. I love it.
Have you ever ice climbed?
No, I've done like some miniature stuff, not with actual gear, almost killed myself, but no, I don't know if I ever will. I don't trust it. I just
No?
don't trust wearing metal crampons and having two spikes in my hand, digging them into sheets of ice, causing fractures in it that just could domino effect and I fall off a big chunk of ice. No. Like I used to always want to go skydiving. I don't really want to go skydiving anymore.
That's one thing I've never wanted to do. So
I've
I
grown
can't
a
relate.
very, I mean, fear of falling. Yeah. Like I've been climbing roofs my entire life, climbing mountains literally my entire life. But as I've gotten older, I guess it's, the more I guess you realize and love this life, you want to stay on this planet, like for sure. Like I've made up my mind. I do want to be here, then stuff can start seeming scary, like heights and being, 8,000 feet above, you know, the floor and climbing.
I hate all that shit, dude. I had are you do you know Andy Near?
Yeah. No, I
So
wouldn't say
he
like
I
we're
had yeah, we shot some content right before Thanksgiving. We actually met for the first time at RoofCon as well. And he was telling me that like that's what he likes to do. He likes to go and he goes on these climbs and he's in Michigan and they go into Canada and it's like you can go to the same mountain 5 times in the same season. It's always different because water runs off, new ice
hmm
forms and shit like that. So it's really cool. Imagine like I don't know, it would be like for me it would be like golfing and being able to go to the same place and play a different golf course. Like that'd be really fucking cool. Even though I
hmm
suck at golf, really bad at golf actually.
I suck at
I
golf, but I love playing it,
yeah, it's fun. So
and I
I,
hate
I,
it.
I was like, okay, I could appreciate for like how that would be awesome if you're a climber. But he was telling
Yeah,
me how he does this shit. I'm like, dude, that's amazing. And I would never do that ever.
yeah,
Like you said, fucking kicking into a side of a mountain. Like,
yeah.
nah, I'm good. Uh, I don't even want to watch from the top. I'll film it, wear a GoPro. I'll watch the YouTube footage.
And it's exhausting too.
I can
Like,
imagine.
yeah, God,
Yeah, no thanks. So if
yeah.
you see anyone that's climbing a mountain that looks like me, I promise you it's not me because I'll never do
Okay,
it.
so I won't try and like overexert myself to get to you.
Yeah, no, just assume it's not. We're good. And yeah, so, dude, this was amazing. We got to do it again in the future.
Yeah.
I'm really appreciative for you taking some time coming and chopping it up. Sorry that there was technical malfunction the first time around, because this would have then been our second conversation. That would have been great. But instead, it's the first that the world would get to see, and I'm sure they're going to love it. And appreciate all the listeners. Y'all,
Up.
you guys are the reason we do this, partially, other than the selfish reason of what I get out of it, which is the love of having conversation with great people. So, y'all the real MVPs.
Yeah, buddy.
Anything else you want to talk about before we wrap up, Cam?
No, man. Just look forward to seeing you soon. You'll be at we said roofing process. I should be there.
Yeah, it's a stone's throw away from you.
Yeah.
I would hope to see you there. If you're not going to be there, let me know. How far is Cape Coral? You're in Cape Coral?
Mm-hmm.
What are you, about 2 hours?
2.5, something like
hours?
that. Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I
we'll
should be
probably get
there.
in. If you're not, worst case, plan for the worst, hope for the best. If you're not, let me know, and we'll fly in like a day early or something. Meet up, grab lunch, some shit like that. Maybe
Sweet.
meet up in Tampa or something.
Oh yeah, I met a really good captain. We went fishing the other day for the first time. It was the first time I've been fishing out on the ocean, so it was huge. And we were slaying them. Jules and I, and my girlfriend, we were killing it, catching snook left and right. It was dope. So I'm gonna call him next time you're in this area. I got a guy.
I will hit you up when I'm there, brother. I appreciate you.
Yeah, buddy. Thank you. It was good talking to you.
Likewise.